Welcome once again to the Visual Vapor Reviews. I'm your host, Michael Cobb, and today we got something truly beefy and big today. I have been waiting for this for a bit, but I didn't even know I was going to get it until yesterday. So, quick story time and kind of a bonus. I'm going to pull up a chair real quick so we can chit-chat about the vape schnet. So, yesterday, my friend Crystal, or I call her Tony, went to go to a car dealership up in Concord. She took me and Ari along, and we found out that she couldn't trade her vehicle in there for a car of equal value. So the guy sent us over to Laconia, which had which was a place called Bear Automotive, and it was a really nice place. But what really got me was the fact that the guy who owned the place used to own a vape shop before he opened the automotive shop. And this guy still had a bunch of his old stuff there that he didn't use anymore. And I'm thinking to myself, holy moly, this is insane. And he takes me to the back room and says, go ahead and pick out whatever you want. And I did not expect that at all. But I ended up getting a lot of cool stuff from him. I got like 13 bottles of juice, including my new favorite, the Double Dragon by Magic Juice. I've got Cloudy Drops, which is Bahama Blast. I've got Swedish Fish. I've got Snake Eyes. Beautiful flavor. I like that one a lot. And some more of the Cutwood Mega Melons. A 60ml bottle of Rebirth by Ace Liquids. Also got Royal Flush. And more of the Magic Juice, which was B Air. Nope, sorry. R Airhead. Then I got a bunch of wire, believe it or not. I've got the 26 gauge 100-foot wire, and then I got, let's see, what else do I end up getting? I got a 34 gauge, two 34 gauge nickel, and two pure nickel annealed pieces. No, there's more in there. There is. It's in the bag underneath. But in any case, there was a lot that was really coming in with it, and I was really excited. But then not only did he give me wires, he gave me a bunch of building materials, some old RDAs, but that wasn't the pinnacle of it all. I had never thought I would actually get something this big, but I always liked rebuildables, and I finally got something I could build on from him. He gave me this really cool RDA. It's called the Tobh Atty, or, yep, Tobh, T-O-B-H. Atomizer. This thing is big and beefy, and it's got a really nice solid metal drip tip that goes right over it. But wait until you see the coil build on this thing. Normally they have okay, fine. Well, normally they have a
Save electricity.
Normally they have two posts in them that which are velocity style, but which are two posts like this, and they have a top hole and a bottom hole, positive and negative, and vice versa on the other side, so that you can put the two coils in on the same post. But what I wasn't expecting was the kind of post build on this thing. This is a 5-post build deck. And it puts off a lot of vapor, guys. Take a look at this thing. When I first saw this thing, I don't know how well you can see it. When I first saw it, I was not expecting this at all. But apparently you're supposed to be able to do what's called a quad build on this thing, which allows you to put 4 different coils in it. Now, note to self and anyone else who's building for the first time, never, and I cannot stress this enough, never push your finger, or push the button on your mod unless you are absolutely 100% sure that your mod is off. Because if you're not, and your mod goes off while you're building, you're going to have something like this happen to your finger. This thing stinks. I mean, literally, I was building on it, and I just used a dual coil build, and what ended up happening was the coil fired off on the end before I tightened it down. It created a hot spot on the connection on the edge of the wire before I clipped it, and it literally burned the coil into my finger. So I had to peel that thing right off, and I ended up getting a horrible burn on my finger to the point where it was it looked like a fish hook. But now I got the build all set up. I didn't have any proper wire cutters. That's why there's actually a wire sticking up on the top there. You'll see a little bit right by my pinky underneath that. That's because I didn't have any proper wire cutters. I'm going to trim this up later on. But this thing holds a massive amount of cotton. So how about we do a quick flavor check on it? Which one should I do? Buttery Nipple, Cloud Drops, Bahama Blast, or Double Dragon? Hey babe, which one sounds good to you? Bahama Blast, Double Dragon, Buttery Nipple, Mega Melon, Snake Eyes, Royal Flush. Alright, she's chosen the Snake Eyes. So we got Snake Eyes right here. This is a 0 milligram nicotine level. And it is a 75-25 PG-VG ratio, so this should wick up really nice. Smells kind of like a custard. I don't really know what to make of that flavor, actually. But I haven't tried it yet, so might as well give it a wick up. Now, what I noticed is that this coil, believe it or not, this dual coil build, it actually reads it as a very high resistance, not a very low one. For some strange reason, I don't know exactly what happened. Maybe I did an uneven wrap on the coil, the second coil, because I did 11 wraps of 26 gauge Kenthal annealed wire on one coil. I think I did maybe 10. I think by accident. I must have lost count at some point. But look at the really nice build deck here. This thing's really wide, and it has very narrow air holes. Not very thick. I'm gonna probably drill them out at some point and just kind of cut it out so that I have more airflow, because I'm not really liking how little the airflow is on this thing. So I'm probably gonna drill them out at some point. But once you get a look-see at this thing, you'll truly understand how cool this thing is. So it says Tobh atomizer. It's a 2014 V2. I'm guessing 30 millimeter roughly. But it's much bigger than my Falcon tank, so this will definitely be my go-to when the Falcon runs out until I can get some more Falcon coils. But I'm definitely loving the clouds that come off this thing. I'm going to drill out the air holes at some point, get more airflow. I'm pretty confident even Ari could rip this thing. It's pretty heavy, but you can also, so it has these two posts on the inside, these little notches. Let me see how well you can see that. On the inside, you'll see a little notch on the side of the build deck by my pinky. But those are the airflow cutoffs. So I'm going to cut off the airflow approximately on the first one. There we go. It hits it really strong, guys. I'm not really used to closed off airflow, but I'm going to turn it off to just one on the other side. I'm going to opposite it. So right now it is on this air hole right here out of the three. It's on the far, I believe, your right here, and on mine it's the left. So vice versa, it's cut off evenly. So I'm going to try it out. Wow. Okay, not really used to that at all. Alrighty, time to put it in the middle. I'm going to try and cut off just the middle airflow on both sides and try it out real quick. I'm noticing it's cutting off in a very specific manner. I'm not used to it, but so when I got it, it came with this drip tip as well as this one. So this is a more ergonomic one. It has kind of a funnel that goes to the top, and then I put one of my drip tips in it. But you'll notice it fits perfectly on there, and it makes a really neat, gnarly looking drip tip. So let's give it a rip. It's not bad at all. I really like it. This RDA is definitely my new favorite. It actually takes precedence over the Victory RDA. Let's see what I can do with it. So in comparison to them, let's do a quick flavor check. So this is the RDA wicked up, the Victory RDA wicked up with the snake eyes as well. So let's see what she does. Oh no, I was wrong. That's the Swedish fish right there. Whew. So a picture of Ari's Pepe is right there, and he loved Swedish fish. So this is kind of an homage to him as well. Also, my dad has a big fan of Swedish fish. but it's not my favorite at all by any means. I don't like the Swedish Fish flavor that much. I think they kind of messed up on it. I'm going to try some of this Rebirth now on my Victory RDA and give it a trial run there. See what happens. So I got my coils all wicked up with the previous flavors. This thing just kind of drips on its own if you hold it there. I don't even have to squeeze it. So I'm just going to kind of fill it slightly. Now this RDA is a lot smaller than my normal RDAs. I mean, than my new RDA. This one's approximately maybe 25 millimeter, not even. Maybe it's a 10, 15, I'm not 100% sure. But it's a pretty nice one. I like it. Not bad at all. Kind of sweet, actually. I'm not 100% sure what that flavor is. It kind of tastes like a pineapple almost. I don't know. It's definitely not a bad flavor. Even got that Rockstar flavor in there a while ago. Not bad. I put the Mega Melons on there, and it wasn't bad at all. But I'm really interested in the on the RDA that I got. So I'm used to building on a Velocity style deck, which is the two posts there. And I've never seen some of the posts. So let's get into some of these other posts that I got here. So this is a Praxis Vapors Deranger Atomizer. I've never seen anything like this, but it's tiny. This thing, it has a removable 510 pin in there that I'm kind of wondering about. Maybe it turns it into a squonk mod or something like that. But I'm actually not 100% sure. But this has a 3-post, and I've never had a 3-post deck before. So I'm kind of curious as to how to work with this. But I'll have to figure it out at some point and work on it. But that thing is tiny. I've never... That would kind of look wonky on here. Take a look at this thing. If I screw this little RDA onto my 510 threaded iJoy Diamond, it kind of looks really stupid. But of course there's no coil in there, so it's not going to say there's an atomizer on there at all. There's also no airflow. It's just one solid piece. But then I've got these new pieces as well. Now this is a strange little deck. It has a middle post that's divided into 2 parts. And that means you can put a coil in here that goes to this one, and then here that goes to this one on either side. I'm kind of confused about that. I got 2 posts like that, but this one has a capped airflow with a really small juice well. So I'm not 100% sure how well that'll work out, but I'll have to experiment myself with them later on, build some new coils. But what really has me interested, when I built this thing, when I was building on this coil, I was really unsure of how well this would vape. But here's the weird thing about the resistance. The resistance on this thing, because I was telling you earlier I must have unevenly wrapped the coils or something, it's reading this at a 0.58 resistance coil. I'm running this thing at about 66.6 watts. It's reading 15.9 amps and 4.26 volts to get this vape. It's pretty insane. And this thing puts off more vapor than my Falcon tank. I mean, literally. I got the Mega Melon mix with Airhead in there, and it puts off, that thing puts more vapor off than the Falcon tank, and the Falcon is the Airhead and Cutwood Mega Melon. But see how much that puts off right there? That's a lot of vapor coming off it. But what drives me crazy is the airflow in the Tobh atomizer, or Tobh Atty. That thing puts off a lot of cloudage. And I'm guessing it's probably because, I don't know, I think it's a clone. I don't know how to tell the difference between clones at all. I just know that that thing is very close to the Poseidon tank, RDA, which is a pretty good tank from what I'm hearing. I literally had no idea how to build on that deck. I looked up a ton of videos, and I just couldn't find it. It didn't show any builds on YouTube on how to build on the Tobh atomizer. So what I did instead was, What I did instead was I winged it. I guessed by the look of the 5-post that the middle was the positive and the outer ones were negative, because when I touched the wire to it while it was on my deck and the mod was still on, it started to smoke a little bit. So I guessed right off the bat that was positive, and it was making a connection when I touched it to the other wire, to the outer posts. and the connection was complete. So I was pretty interested in that, and I just turned my mod off for a few seconds, and I slapped some homemade coils in there. They're not the best I've ever made with the Kenthal. It's not. I've never really built coils besides my Victory RDA, and those were pretty simple. Just twist 2 pieces of wire together, 26 gauge, not too hard. But the 34 gauge now, that's a little harder. I've never built with such thin wire before, so I'm kind of hoping that I'll be able to get a nice build off that at some point. I'll need a drill or something like that. But yeah, a lot of good things with that, but what I haven't tried yet are any tricks with the Tobh atomizer, so I'm going to give that a quick try real quick. Now, I'm also noticing there's a twisted 510 threading in there as well, so I'm thinking, a screw-on 510 threading in there as well. So what I'm thinking is the pin that's in there is also removable, so it could probably do squonking as well. I'm not 100% sure, but you never know. But anyway, I'm going to try a couple tricks with this beauty, because I've yet to, so might as well, right? Alright, let's get her wicked up. I'm going to put a couple of drops from, I'm going to try Rockstar right now. Rockstar's a pretty good flavor. Oh, what time is it anyway? Hold on. Oh, 12 o'clock. Not bad. Right on the dot, noontime. Well, it's noontime when I'm making this video. It'll probably be a bit afternoon when I'm finished with this video, so, and upload it. So, but yeah, it's noontime while I'm making this, so let's make sure I drip this. Now, the funny thing is, I've never built with vertical coils before. I've never built vertical. I've always built horizontal coils. So, whenever I build on a deck, because I was so used to my velocity style, deck that they always went side to side, vertical. I mean horizontal. But when I built this thing, they actually go horizontally. So instead of being vertical, sorry, it goes vertical up to down, not horizontal. So that's kind of a new one for me. I've never wicked with horizontal coils before. Vertical coils before. So it was a little bit of a challenge, but once I got that thing and a little bit of an injury out the way, it actually, the injury didn't hurt. It actually just burnt for a little bit, and then it pretty much cauterized the wound right away because of how hot the coil got. So, in any case, let's get this thing going and try a couple of tricks with it. I'm going to try the dragon, I'm going to try a couple of rings, and maybe a French inhale, or Bane as they call it, but whatever. And turns out, I didn't understand where the term Bane came from. Bane actually comes from the DC villain that has the whole thing in front of his face, and that's because of the whole streams that come up into his nose. So, let's try a couple tricks. Let's start with Bane. Not bad. Let's do a little bit of a close-up so you guys can see a bit better. Not bad. Got some good flavor coming off that too. Really liking that. Not a bad flavor at all. Alright, so next up is some rings coming off this thing. Let's see what we can do. Not bad. Some good rings coming off this thing. Okay, I like it. I really like the wide drip tip, the 510 Ultima. I'm wondering if maybe... Alright, sorry about the interruption. Everyone's talking while I'm trying to do this. But okay, next up is the dragon. Let's see if I can get enough vapor production to do that. Whoa, holy moly, the flavor's coming off this thing super rich. And the best thing I've noticed about this, because there's so much cotton in here, I don't have to drip on it as often as I did the Victory RDA. So I'm kind of anxious to see how long this thing will last before I have to drip on it again. What really impresses me is because the build is so high, oh wow, it's actually reading at a 0.6 now. There's a lot of flavor coming off of it. But the flavor coming off this thing is really impressive. I like this thing a lot. This will probably be my go-to when I don't get any coils for that thing. I love it. Okay. So that about wraps it up for the Tobh atomizer. This thing is insane. I absolutely recommend getting it. It's old. It's from 2014, but it still rips like a champ. I never thought I'd see anything this old, but you never know. The Falcon tank is my newest one, and it's one of the newer tanks that came out with mesh coils. This thing doesn't have anything like that. No mesh. It's just straight up Kenthal coils, so I'm pretty excited about that. I really like it. This reads, and ironically enough, so that reads at 0.6 ohms. This reads at 0.16 ohms. That for my Falcon tank. That's a little odd. But I absolutely love it. There's nothing wrong with that tank at all. Just absolute flavor coming off it for days. Now, yesterday, I was kind of miffed. Before we went off to Concord and then to Laconia, I woke up to find my mod covered in oil. And I thought it was just on the outside, but it turned out that when I went to, and I cleaned it off, but when I took a hit, I got nothing but burnt vegetable oil flavor, and I think someone pranked me with my mod, and it was just horrible. I had to take out the coil and change the liquid and everything, and it just was horrible. So, note to self, never leave your mod out overnight. So I keep my mod charging overnight in the room by my side, over in the living room where I sleep on the couch, and I just keep it right there next to me. And now, but during the day I'll put it back where it usually is. But a lot of clouds coming off this thing. I'm really impressed with the Tobh atomizer. It does get pretty hot, but you know what? I don't care. It tastes good. Oh, wow. There we go. So I'm going to do a coil calculation. It reads at 0.64 even, and that's probably, as I said before, because of the uneven coil wraps. But this thing is so beefy. There's no overhang, though. That's the ironic thing. It sits flush against the mod. There's no overhang that I can see. Actually, no, I'm sure of it now. There's no overhang on this thing at all, and I'm loving it. But what I want to try and get my hands on is an RTA, so I can do some accurate reviews on those, because I've never reviewed an RTA before, rebuildable tank atomizer. So RTA stands for rebuildable tank atomizer, meaning you can build your own coils for it, and then you can put it inside of a tank and it'll just fill down. But yeah, thankfully I was able to get a whole bunch of stuff together. And thanks to the guy over at the shop, over at the auto shop, I was able to get a lot of good flavors. That stuff is awesome. But yeah, so let's drip a couple drops on the coil again, get that thing wicked up, ready to go. There we go. Nice and wicked up and ready to go. And the funny thing is, it doesn't overfill very easily. There's a wide, and it's so wide it can hold a lot of juice.
Hey, where's the slug at?
But I'm noticing a lot of good flavor coming off it. But anyway, guys, that about wraps things up for the Visual Vapor reviews today. It's been a really good day so far. We're going to go head up to New Boston for a celebration of life for the birthday of Riley's father. We're going to head up there and we're going to have some cupcakes and a couple of balloons up there as well. Going to celebrate how good of a father he was, and he was just a really good guy from what I've heard. I never met him, but I've heard nothing but good things about him, so I'm kind of sad that I didn't get to meet him, but c'est la vie, such is life, they say. But, you know, alright. I'm going to put a little bit more of my Rockstar in there, in my Falcon tank, and wrap this up. This is actually one of my longer videos. I haven't really done that many long videos in a while, so I'm kind of happy I was able to do that today, get that out of the way, show you guys the new Tobh atomizer. And next time on the Visual Vapor reviews, I'm going to be doing a throwdown between the two tanks. I was just showing you a comparison today, but next time I do a video, I'll be doing a throwdown of the two, so hopefully you'll stick around for that, and I'll see you guys next time. Until that time, though, I'm your host, Michael Cobb, and these are the Visual Vapor reviews. Peace, guys. Oh, side note, also be sure to check out my friend DJ D Vape Reviews. He's an awesome reviewer. He just hasn't had the chance to really get out there and show people what he can do. He doesn't really get too much in the way of product, but he does do some really honest and good reviews. So Be sure to check them out, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.